Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today at the Halo Fiction panel today. There's still some people streaming in. I just saw the 405th stream in. Those are the guys dressed as Halo characters. I want to say thanks to everyone for joining us today. We're super excited. I'm especially excited because somebody from the audience just came up and reminded me it is exactly 117 days until Halo 4 launches on Election Day. And that is obviously part of our stunning planning and not a weird coincidence I just found out about seconds ago. We are here today to talk about Halo Fiction. Now, we're obviously going to talk about Halo 4 and Forward Unto Dawn. That's right in the program. But really, we're here to talk about a continuum of fiction that started in 2001 with the launch of Halo CE and continues to this day. And story is something that we've taken more and more and more seriously as the years and the games have gone by. And it's something that we're especially excited about with Halo 4 and with Forward Unto Dawn, which are the two things that we're really going to talk to you guys about today. But like I said, it is a continuum. It's a big universe. It's a deep universe. It has rich and stable foundations, and we're building on those. And we're grateful for the ones that have been built before we got here. And we're going to do our best to make sure the stories we tell from this point out are as good and as exciting and as deep and rich as we can possibly make them. So I'm going to start off with some introductions. We have a bunch of very, very handsome men on this panel today. It is a sausage party. I'm sorry about that. But starting with our lead sausage to my left, this is a new guy to the Halo universe. This is Armando Trisi. He is our narrative director. Thank you. To his left is the very beautiful Brian Goodrich, our cinematics director. The truly resplendent Brian Reed, one of the writers of Halo 4. The mirthful and dancey Kevin Grace. He's franchise manager.
Dancey.
And to the left of Kevin Grace, a newcomer emerges. We have some of the guys from Forward Unto Dawn. We have the director of Forward Unto Dawn, Mr. Stuart Handler. And I hate doing this because it's mean, but I'm going to introduce you guys as brothers. Brothers and partners in crime, and the screenwriters of Forward Unto Dawn, also from Spartacus, Blood and Sand, where you may have seen a lot of gratuitous nudity and violence. Todd and Aaron Helbing. So we have a bunch of stuff to talk about today and a few interesting things to show you. But we're going to come back to Forward Unto Dawn later, and we're going to have the world exclusive premiere of the Forward Unto Dawn trailer later on this panel. I'm kind of filling air because people are still filing in. They look really attractive people filing in as well, so I feel like I owe them something. No, there's a lot of women in the audience. It's out there. It's all real. So I'm gonna kick it off by starting to talk about story and the Halo universe. Something we thought about a few years ago now. I keep saying 3 years, but it's more like 4 years at this point. We kind of started to take over the Halo franchise. Bungie passed us the reins and said, go for it. And we said, there's a few things we want to do. And the number one thing that we want to do is make sure that every story we tell in the Halo universe from this point out, whether it's a novel, whether it's a live-action digital series, whether it's a brand new way to play cooperative multiplayer, whether it's the campaign and the cinematics itself, everything is going to count, and everything is going to be connected. And I want to hand it over to Kevin Grace, who's our franchise manager. He works with me on the franchise team, and he makes sure that all of these pegs fit in the appropriately shaped holes. So, Kevin, I'm going to kick it off to you. Tell us how much planning actually went into building the story in Halo, and
a lot.
No, Frank's right, is that since we started 343, and I shouldn't say we because I came on shortly afterwards, when 343 got started and Bonnie and Frank talked about that, making sure that all the stories counted, everything fits in the universe, everything was meaningful, and hopefully connected to the other pieces and made the other pieces better. It started off, and I think literally it was just really Frank and Frank's brain, which is impressive. But it's a big universe for one brain to cover. And in the time since we started 343, we now have 7 people whose time is spent entirely keeping track of all the details in this big, crazy, interesting, made-up universe, and making sure that all the bits and pieces work together. And maybe most importantly for me and for my team is that we work well with all of the partners that we bring on board to create stories. And some of those partners are internal, are the nice gentlemen to my right, the internal team working on Halo 4, our publishing team working on things like Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary last year. And then we've got external partners as well, and authors like Greg Bear and Karen Travis, comic books that we do with Marvel, and then the Dreamy Fellas to my left as well. Is that all these people that we bring in who are really, really, really good at doing what they do, we need to provide them with the kind of the note of consistency so that the stories that they're creating can fit and feed into everything that everybody else is both simultaneously creating and has been making for the last 10 years. So it's quite a juggling act. It's a really cool job. And we're very lucky to have such a big universe and have great people, frankly, like all of you, who've stuck with it for as long as it's been around. And we try to keep things interesting and not get yelled at in the forums too much.
Yeah. That sounds incredibly complicated and baroque. So do I have to understand all this stuff to appreciate the Halo universe?
I do go on. You don't, because as much as it is important for those pieces to work together, we have to recognize that not everybody who wants to watch Halo 4 Forward Unto Dawn, grab the first episode and see what's going on.
What?
Yeah, they're not going to play 6 full, 8-hour campaigns to get into that and read 9 or 10 books and do all those things. So each of those pieces has to work on its own. It's got to be enough to hook you if you're brand new to Halo and say, this is kind of an interesting universe. This Master Chief guy, he seems all right. What else has he gotten up to? And then if you like that, and if we get you interested, then there's all these other pieces that you can get into at whatever pace works best for you. So while we try to make them all work together, they all have to stand on their own individually. That doesn't really make things easier, but again, it's a pretty cool challenge.
So, we talked about starting to build the foundations, and that was something that my general manager, Bonnie Ross, kicked my butt about a few years ago. And one of the big ticket items that we started to sort of craft the universe around was the novels. And they're a big piece of the universe. We have Thursday War coming out in October. And we have the final piece of the Greg Bear trilogy coming out in January, which is called Silentium. How do the books actually play? Greg Bear might be here. I have to be careful. How do the books actually play into the universe, and what do they do, and how much of that do I need to understand to get into Halo 4?
You don't have to understand, frankly, any of it to get into Halo 4. You can have not ever met the very nice Greg Bear and jump right into it and be just fine. But if you do get into those books, and if you've been following the rest of the universe, there are things that Greg explains, ideas about Forerunner casts and Forerunner philosophy and the Forerunner power, the history and really the basis, the fundamentals of the Halo universe, the core mystery of the Forerunners. He's taking us there, and so we're literally with them right now at a very pivotal point, at the point at which we're getting ready. The Flood is attacking. Armando's messing up his mic. It's so Greg is really getting us up to speed with that most important moment in time for the Forerunners, at the same time that Karen Travis in her books, coming up in the Thursday War, is really setting the modern day political stage for the universe. A lot's happened since the end of Halo 3, which is the last kind of most recent event we've officially got in the universe, especially for Chief. So the universe is not sitting around waiting for somebody to find Master Chief. There's lots of people, lots of critters, lots of fighting, and lots of developments happening that if you know about them, it makes a lot of the lines and the moments and the characters in Halo 4 more interesting, and you kind of understand a little bit more about them. But again, if you don't have that, they're still pretty awesome dudes and ladies.
I would agree with that. It is review time for Kevin this year. So, we've talked all this year a lot about multiplayer, and actually one of the cool things about being here today is we do get to talk a little bit about the technique and the craft and the art that go into the campaign. I think that for most people, Halo's storytelling comes from all sorts of places. It comes from the environment, it comes from the world, the universe, the characters. But I think that the biggest single piece of Halo storytelling that we have is cinematics. And it's the biggest chunk of linear storytelling that we do in the game. And it's something that we've spent a dramatic amount of effort, energy, and time on for Halo 4. So I want to pass it over to Brian Goodrich, who's our cinematics director, to tell us a little bit about what he does and how we're approaching the Halo 4 cinematics.
You're going to show the clip first?
You're going to introduce it.
Oh, I'm going to introduce the clip. Very good. Hi. So, good afternoon. I'm going to show you a little snippet from Halo 4 cinematic here, one of the scenes. It's a bit of a progression video. You're going to see the live action performance capture, then a body animation pass with a little bit of rough cameras laid in, and then we'll put it all together with the facial performance, facial animation, and some lighting. Disclaimer, effects are still work in progress, graphics still work in progress, but we hope you like it.
You good?
Let's do it.
All right. So there's some drama in the next game. Brian, do you want to tell us a little bit about what we saw there? And actually, shout out to the actors in that scene.
So what you saw there was, like I said, it's the performance capture process, the blocking in body animation, and then the sort of what's getting closer to the final product there. The actors you saw there were Mark Ralston, who you may have seen in Shawshank Redemption or Aliens. Yeah, he's a great actor. Yeah. Darren O'Hare, and great newcomer. Bruce Thomas, who in the cinematics plays Master Chief, and Mackenzie Mason, who plays Cortana in the cinematics.
Yep, and
Yeah.
we actually have one of our voice actors for those characters, Jen Taylor, is hiding somewhere in the audience. We'll talk to her later. But that in itself, Brian, is it's a pretty new way for us to make cinematics. We're doing this a very sort of rich combination of techniques and effects. What were we actually seeing there in terms of performance capture, facial capture, and so on?
Yeah. So, well, what can I talk about?
Well, we shot on the same stage as
Yeah,
Avatar.
yeah, thank you.
to
Good
start
point.
with.
So yeah, that brings up a good point. When we started this process, my animation director and I, Bryce Cochran, talked about, what do we want to do, what do we want to go for here, and performance capture, full performance capture was what we targeted. And at 343, there's not a lot of us who have a ton of experience in that, so we sought out Giant Studios, who worked on Avatar and Tintin, and really leveraged their expertise to bring to life what you just saw.
Yeah, and one of the really interesting things for us is that we've done things as a mixed bag before. We have done motion capture, obviously, in betweening and other animation techniques in the Halo universe in the past. But a thing we found out at Halo anniversary celebration last year was that Jen Taylor and Steve Downes had never actually met, let alone actually acted together. And this was, for Halo 4, this is the first time that those two actors have actually acted together with each other. So all the conversations they've had in the past have been sort of one way.
It really just trying to get that connected performance is what we really were after there with everybody.
Yep. And so are you finding that we're getting more sort of resonant emotional performances out of that? What are the challenges there?
To me, I think what you just saw, it feels very connected to me. One of the things, working with performance capture does have some complexities, especially for the actor, because they're there maybe for the first time ever doing performance capture, and they're in spandex. They have markers all over them. They have markers on their face. They're wearing a helmet. It can be uncomfortable. They have a camera pointing at their face. And so it's trying to get them to a place where they can forget about all that and just play the genuine moments with the other characters and with the other actors there.
Yeah, and Mackenzie and Bruce are slight exceptions to the rule because they're the only ones that have different voice performers for obvious reasons. You guys have heard of Steve and Jen before. One of the things that was interesting to me about the mocap session, this is completely an aside, was that it was big enough for horse races. Like they've actually motion captured horses with ping pong balls all over them, and they wouldn't let me on one. And they're also big enough to put a warthog in. We know this for a fact. So that's our cinematics. It's something I'm really excited about. I think it was one of the big areas for growth for the series, and we already had a really rich universe, and we're able to make it look better and better and better with every iteration, obviously. And Halo 4, we hope, is going to prove that. And actually, I'm gonna bump back to this. We have a panel on Saturday, and it's at 3:15. Basically next door, right? And you'll see a little bit more of the cinematics in a piece of video we have to show you there. So I definitely encourage you all to come back if you're curious to see more of that stuff. But cinematics are one piece of the puzzle, but they're not the whole thing. Storytelling in Halo universe, as I mentioned before, is about the world, it's about the characters, about the atmosphere, and about a lot of other stuff that I'm going to let Armando Troisi, our narrative director, tell you a little bit more about.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Firstly, narrative director at 343.
What have you worked on before, Armando? Any games we might have heard of?
So I was the lead cinematic designer on the Mass Effect series before going to the next one.
He didn't do those last two endings, which
Thanks.
I actually like them, but like I like both of them.
So as narrative director, I basically run the writer's room for the game. So we have a number of writers here. Obviously, we have Brian. We have Christopher Schlurf, who's back home right now, working really hard, putting all the final touches on the game, making it as sharp as possible. But yeah, basically, I work as a point of contact between animation, cinematics, vignettes, audio, voice casting, voice direction, kind of bringing together the holistic storytelling across the game, because our cinematics are fantastic, but there's so much storytelling that happens in combat, happens in just the nuance of the environment. These are all the things that I really work at to make sure that we're bringing the best storytelling to the Halo universe.
So I know I didn't prep you for this, but can you run us through an example of some sort of connective tissue that joins, for example, a piece of campaign gameplay to cinematic? How do those pieces actually connect in practice?
It's kind of like I don't want to give away too much, but there's things that we have in the game. So we have a lot of explorable story that's going to be part of Halo 4. So even though Halo 4 campaign is going to be a really great linear experience, we're giving the player the opportunity to explore different aspects of the narrative that they want to. And we're going to use different devices in the game where people can find things, learn things. And as they go through this sort of interactive sort of exploring process, they'll get to a cinematic and hopefully have a slightly different understanding of that cinematic, which colors it a little bit, but makes it a deeper, richer experience just because of the nuance that we're putting into either the dialogue or the cinematics or whatever, but just giving you a deeper understanding and maybe a little bit more ownership over your story.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier today about the fact that this isn't something that you just lock and load and it's ready a year ago. This is an organic process.
Yeah.
And changes in design and the addition and the elimination of features changes what you guys have to do even in moment-to-moment gameplay, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like one of the things I always say is the script's not done until the game ships, and it's so true. We're refining the story right now. We're changing small things, we're adding things here, we're changing the subtext of certain things in order to deliver that, the most emotional, best story ever told in the Halo universe. So that's an iterative process, just like any other part of design. We work with the designers, the animators, and all the rest of the team to make sure that we have a cohesive vision that, I'm sure everybody here will appreciate when they get to play.
So I'm going to have a quick question for the audience. How many people here are planning on buying the game on November 6th? And how many of you guys are planning on playing it through basically in one sitting? So how many legendary? I don't mean to move. I actually want it to be a lot. I don't mean to move it down. Yeah. So that you guys are exceptions to the rule. If you're a senile old man like I am, you can't do that and stay awake or stay out of the bathroom. So so I'm going to play it in chunks, and I will play the retail game. Obviously, we all play through it all the time, but when I get the disc, I'm actually going to take home the finished disc, and I'm going to play through it in chunks, and those chunks tend to be about an hour and a half to 3 hours, like on first playthrough in campaign, and I'll play it through in those chunks. And what I found with Halo and with other games is that you're playing through an 8-hour campaign. If you go watch a movie in one sitting, that's maybe 2 hours. And you get the whole narrative in one blast, and you come away feeling one sense of how that movie felt to you. In a video game, it's completely different. If we have hours and hours and hours of campaign, how do you accommodate that gulf between the different play sessions and people's memories and so on?
Yeah, well, I think it's all about how you construct plot, right? We want to try to make sure that we construct plot which is self-contained within the level. But we also have plot which spans the entirety of the game, and hopefully even plot which expands the universe. So what we try to do is we try to make sure that we have plot threads that are instantly satisfying to the player, but we also, the culmination of all these plot threads in the end game really bring things together. So you're really you feel like you're progressing through the story, and there's really no lulls or dull points, because you feel like you're accomplishing things, you're finding out information. So really it's in how you construct the plots that gives you that immediate satisfaction and then that long-term satisfaction.
Yeah. So when I look over at the departments, I look certainly at Brian's group, and I think of those guys as basically making a movie in some ways. And I look at Armando's group, and they're basically directly connected. It's not like they're sitting in two different boats.
Yeah.
But I see what Brian is doing is one big giant linear chunk, and what Armando's doing is all these different pieces. It's like he's juggling. And how do you guys actually interact, and how do you guys keep everything straight between all the various pieces, Brian? Tension of development.
We look at the scripts together. We look at the stories together. Same thing with Brian and Schlurf. We go through stuff and we discuss it and figure out, I think we're all really passionate about telling a great story. And so I joke, but yeah, sometimes we do butt heads, and that's okay. In the end, it's about creating the best story and the best experience for the fans. And it's
a completely iterative process, and I think that's what differentiates us from like mediums like film. Is iteration is the keystone of good game design, whether it's story, cinematics, or whatever it is. And we just need to accept that. Things are going to change, things are going to shift, but it's all about threading the needle and making sure that when our date comes, that we're giving the best product possible.
Yeah. So I'm going to quickly ask, since we have some Hollywood types here, I'm going to ask Todd or Aaron. I know you guys do iterations and you do script doctoring and you're sometimes on set fixing things. But does that feel like a different process to you? Like how malleable ours is right up until ship versus what you guys are doing?
There's a lot of similarities. In television, we both write in television primarily. You're doing rewrites sometimes up until the second you shoot the scene, or you'll arrive on set and have to rewrite a scene, so you just sort of bury yourself in a trailer and make it work somehow. But no, it's very similar.
Yep. So Brian Reed, that's definitely your day. I know that for a fact. Is a designer makes a change or takes out an encounter or moves an encounter in, you have to accommodate with either combat dialogue or script changes and so on. What's a typical example of I came in this morning, everything was going fine. I got to 2:30 p.m. and everything went pear-shaped.
The example I was giving somebody earlier today was it's as if you're making a movie that's set in New York, and then you come to work the next day and they've changed the set and now it's Mars, and you have to roll with that. And you find that it's incredibly easy after a while to come up with a reason that we're on Mars now. And that's my job in a nutshell.
Excellent. So I just got told we have 15 minutes left, which sounds rough to me, but yeah, someone just came up with a sign that said 15 minutes. Doesn't sound right. We've definitely talked a little bit about campaign, and one of the big new additions for Halo 4 is Infinity, which is our linear episodic online cooperative multiplayer. And Brian's one of the lead writers on that series. How has that been compared to writing for campaign, for example?
Oh, wow. Infinity, I don't know how much everybody knows, so let's see. Infinity is going to be a weekly episodic series, so it's like 6 to 8 minute episodes that'll come out, and spinning off of those episodes each week are 5 new missions that you get to play through cooperatively. And the real goal was to get in there and make sure that you were part of this living, breathing story. Things you do in gameplay, we see reflected in the story, in the episodes, and vice versa. With that, it's funny because with campaign, you do a lot that is very specific and very planned out ahead of time, and you start building it and tweaking it and tweaking it. And with the Spartanoffs, we've been kind of approaching it as, what happens if we throw all these pieces in the bucket and shake it? And that has given us some really cool gameplay, and in turn has changed the plot as we've gone. So we've got this awesome animated series and this awesome gameplay, and they're both telling a story. And as Kevin was saying, building it up so that if you only want to experience part of that, you can. If you want to just play the missions, there's this awesome story that you get told about your group that you're part of. And if you want to just watch the show, you can do that, and you still get this cool, full experience out of it.
Yep. So the episodes are, obviously they're broken up. We've said this time and time again, they're broken up in 1 piece of fiction and 5 gameplay missions. How does that really connect? How do the gameplay missions connect to each other? And then how does that talk to the fiction that the player is going to be presented with?
I'm trying to remember what all we've said publicly.
Make something up. You still got 2 months.
Yeah, what it is finding the pieces of storytelling. Something mysterious comes on board the USNSC Infinity. Well, in gameplay, you were the guys who uncovered that mysterious thing. It starts having effects on the ship. In gameplay, you were the guys who were trying to solve those problems.
Ease it back there.
No, and then Master Chief takes his helmet off, and he's really a woman, and it's oh no.
He was actually getting close to a giant spoiler there.
No, I've done that. No, but it's finding that thing that lets you have that investment and that ownership of that story is to get in there and be part of it. And that's what the real steps have been at every version, is when you get to the cliffhanger of the episode, you want it to be a thing that very naturally leads into the play space and let you own that story, as well as experience the next part that's animated that you can't own because someone else has made that. But to give you that part that you're talking to characters in the show, you're doing things that are affecting the show.
Mm-hmm. And it's actually that cadence and that pace. I was talking, of course, about hours and hours of campaign is a big investment, and it feels very different than the Infinity stuff. What I found is it's the best metaphor I can use is how sometimes appetizers are the most delicious part of your meal, and they're usually fried, which is a helpful part of that. And that's kind of how I feel about missions, at least. Not so much the cinematics. Actually, the fictional episodes are actually quite meaningful. I want to reinforce that these aren't just sort of blow up the bad guy and move on to the next thing. Things happen that actually matter. But being able to digest the story in those very tight little chunks is actually really refreshing. And it means that, the weekly cadence of it is actually going to be really addictive. I literally can't wait till the next. And we're waiting because these things are going through design iteration as well as sort of building. And I'm literally waiting for the next pieces to come in, even as we're waiting through the design process.
Yeah, and the 2 things we really wanted to do when started this was wanted the story to count, wanted it to mean something. It moves the universe forward. It is a continuing story. But we also wanted those individual missions to be things that, they move the universe forward as well, but that they're quickly digestible. That, like Frank was saying, when you get to be old man such as himself and lose all your hair, you sit around on the couch and burp and fart and go, oh, I wish I had time to play games. You get online with your friends, you play for 20 minutes, you get a mission out of the way, you're done, you move on. Versus the maniacs here who are spending 8 hours on their couch playing the entire campaign in one go. And God bless you, everyone.
Yeah. So it does all connect. The stuff that happens in Infinity absolutely connects directly and impacts the campaign and vice versa. They're all intertwined. And like I said, all of our fiction is intertwined. And as I said at the start of this panel, one of the biggest pieces of sort of interconnected fiction, which is interesting in that if you don't even buy Halo 4, and you'd be a fool to not do that. I don't know. This is marketing here. Sorry. They're all going to buy it. They all put their hands up anyway. Is Forward Unto Dawn. in some ways an introduction to the Halo universe for everyone, even if you think you're familiar with it. It takes us back more than 20 years. But I'm gonna talk to a very young and handsome director named Stuart Handler to talk to us about his involvement in Forward Unto Dawn, the live-action digital series. Now, Stuart is first going to introduce and then cue up our DV cam video for us today, which is going to be the world-exclusive debut of the trailer. But before we actually start it, Stuart, do you want to tell us a little bit about what we're going to see here?
Yeah, so this is the world premiere of the full-length trailer for Forward Unto Dawn. We wrapped principal photography about a month ago, so it was a little bit challenging to try to put together a kick-ass trailer with hundreds of visual effects shots that have not yet been finished. But we think it at least scratches the surface, and you guys can be the judge.
The pincer movement. Red represents the Romans' troops, blue Hannibal's. When the Romans attacked, Hannibal's cavalry galloped in from behind. The Romans were completely surrounded.
How do we apply that?
Drop behind enemy lines. Attack in the rear. Neutralize. Prepare to attack. You're gonna get us all killed. That's it. You ignore orders.
It's just another casualty, sir.
Unacceptable.
This academy represents honor, valor, allegiance. I am worthy. You are anything but.
Comments were something as you know.
Maybe when they first arrived here at this place. Moving together, and then the people to follow you. There's a soldier inside your tanks. I can see it. You need to see it. What does this mean? Do you need it?
So, did we mention that this debuts October 5th? It will be completely free for everyone with any kind of electronic device north of a coffee maker to watch via Machinima Prime. It will also be on Halo Waypoint. Machinima Prime is going to let you watch it on just about any device. Halo Waypoint it also works on web browsers and the Xbox 360. But we're super excited about this. I got to tell you, before I turn it over to Stuart to talk about the production, we watched the rough cut last night. And we couldn't have been more excited. The funny thing is the trailer is fairly old compared to the stuff that we watched last night. And we typically go into these things with a notepad and we're writing notes and saying the chief should stand here and he needs to be an inch taller there and we're jerks. But 5 minutes into it, we just kind of lost ourselves and we were basically enjoying watching this amazing digital series with an amazing cast and an amazing crew. And I'm going to turn it over to the leader of that crew right now, Mr. Stuart Handler, the director. So shooting wrapped just a couple of weeks ago, basically. You were up there for the wrap party. So tell us about the process. Tell us about the production.
It was a fast process. We got a start on this basically at the very tail of last year, and knew that this had to come out in advance of Halo 4. Apparently you guys weren't willing to move that date for us.
Sorry.
So we worked quickly to get the script into shape, and the Helbings kicked some major ass doing that, and then started crewing and casting up. Shot it up in Vancouver for about 5 weeks, and we just got back down to LA where we're doing all the post-production, except for visual effects, which are being done by ARC in Toronto.
Yeah, we saw a lot of tennis balls on sticks last night, but we know what to look for.
Yeah, scary tennis balls.
So how was the cast and crew? Because I've met a bunch of them, and I got to tell you, maybe it's Canada, maybe it's this cast and crew, but it was the nicest shoot I've ever been to.
They're all right. We got some here. Should we shout them out?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, we do actually have some special guests here. We have a bunch of the cast and crew from the show, and we also have Jen Taylor, the voice of Cortana here. So what I'd like to do really briefly, and then I'll pass it back to Stuart, is ask the cast and crew to come up and take a bow. Jen Taylor, the beautiful Miss Jen Taylor, the voice and soul of Cortana. Mr. Tom Green, a handsome Antipodean. We have Massam, who is the funniest guy in the show. I'm sorry, everyone else. I was cracking up last night. We have Osric has joined us. That's a surprise. Osric, can you do a backflip for? No, don't. He can, but he's not going to. We also have Anisha Brewster, who is also beautiful and lovely and wonderful. And we have Anna Popplewell, who has become an internet celebrity for this. That was previously a movie celebrity, but the internet is more important. And we have, who's this tall guy? I wonder who he could have played. This is Mr. Daniel Cudmore, who you may have seen as Colossus in X-Men, but he is also the physical embodiment of the Master Chief. He really is that tall. He's not standing on anything. Ladies and gentlemen, it really is just an amazing group of people. I've worked with Jen for years now. These guys are brand new to us, and they feel like an extended part of our family. I'd like to ask them to take a bow and make their exit.
Yeah. And don't forget Mason Holden right here.
Mason.
Thank you so much, guys. We loved it. So, she's so much less blue in real life, right?
And taller.
So the cast and crew have been amazing, but Stuart and the Helbings, you guys really sort of built this thing from the foundations up. How was it working with jerks like us?
No pressure.
I'll bounce that to you guys.
It was pretty fantastic, really. I mean, everyone at 343 was very, very open to our ideas. We got to pitch them some takes that we had, and we got to incorporate some certain elements that some people are familiar with, and others we just kind of came up with on our own, and with collaboration with Stewart and 343, I think we came up with a pretty awesome story. It's not often that studios give you a ton of creative freedom the way that 343 did for us, which as writers, it's the greatest thing in the world.
Excellent. So that's really us reaching the end. So I have a little bit of really actually fun and exciting housekeeping to do first, which is that we have signing sessions at the Xbox booth. We're going to do Q&A, so if you guys are going to want to ask some questions, I would start getting up to the mics now. But we're going to do some signing sessions. We have some pretty cool giveaways, including my favorite, which is an Oni patch, which you can iron onto anything and act more badass. The cast and stars are going to be signing at the Xbox booth at the times you see there. Tonight, 6 to 7 p.m. at the Xbox booth. And Friday, 1 to 2 p.m., you're going to be able to get stuff signed by the Forward Unto Dawn cast. And then on Saturday, from 1 to 2, we have Jen Taylor and Mr. Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief. And they're going to be there on Sunday, nice and early, 9 to 10. So make sure that you guys, if you want to get anything signed, T-shirts, butts, whatever, get over there for those things. And we will have some cool giveaways, too. So it's Q&A time.
All right.
Who has questions? I really can't see because I'm being blinded, so I think I'll go...
We got a Spartan.
I'll go right
Spartan.
first, and I'm going to watch this very helpful young lady to get that. So we have a Spartan in the front. What's your question, sir?
I would just like to ask if there was going to be dual wield in Halo 4.
I know that people on the internet are now mad at you for asking that question because they feel like you could have asked something else. There is not dual wielding. Anytime we say no, people get mad because that was a question used up. No dual wielding. Sorry. You can like really rapidly change your weapons and fake it, but. And over on the left, is that? No, is everything in the middle? Everything's in the middle. My bad. So. Next question, please.
Will you ever include anything from the Ghost of Onyx, one of the last Halo books in that series?
Hey, Kevin, we are doing some caretaking in Ghost of Onyx. You want to, you can't say too much, but...
I can't say a thing.
You can't say a thing?
Well,
yeah.
not yet.
We'll deal with the events of Ghost of Onyx in the future in the fiction. That's all we can say right now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I was talking
What
about
inspired you to take the multiplayer and make it part of the story as compared to every other Halo game where it's just been a tertiary thing all on its own?
I'd actually pass that over to Brian or Armando, who both worked really practically on it. So.
Yeah. Because we hadn't done it before. Because it was a new and exciting thing, and it was one of the things that when I first started talking with 343 about coming on, and they said they were doing it, I said that sounds insane, and that's the kind of thing I like to go do. It was just this urge to it's room to build the universe that we're not using. It's like having a room in your house that you're not putting any furniture in. It was this chance to just get in there and explore and do fun new stuff, and by God, it's been that.
It was super easy too, right?
It was incredibly easy. It did not take hours and hours and hours or anything.
A lot of that is also just our commitment to making sure that Halo is a story-driven development, right? Like, we want to make sure that we're addressing all the different aspects of the game design and making sure that it has a fictional wrapper to it.
Next question, Mass Effect. Oh, you got a fan. That's Mass Effect 3 shirt, right?
Between all the different works of fiction, the other books that have been written, the work that Bungie did, how are you guys doing to keep continuity between the old games, the books, and the new game and Forward Until Dawn?
There's a gentleman over here by the name of Jeremy Patnode, and he is a robot who remembers everything about Halo ever. And seriously, Jeremy! And seriously, he's the first guy I go to every time that I have a continuity question.
All right.
Yeah, we actually hired Jeremy from a fiction fan site, effectively. I mean, he had another real job, but we got a lot of angry mails from him about various inconsistencies, and it was the only way man could come shut up. Next question.
First of all, I'd like to give my sincerest thanks for everyone who participated in creating such a great universe.
Thank you guys for letting us. We're not here without all of you guys.
Say that again in the form of a question. Typically, it's why are you guys so awesome, and why was Bungie so awesome?
My question actually pertains to something similar that was in Halo 3. In that game, Bungie articulated a system or formula that let players unlock recon armor with accumulation of certain achievements. Will we see something similar in Halo 4?
I would say that career progression is a huge part of Halo 4. I mean, armor perms and helmets aside, it's a huge part of Halo 4, and it has a little bit more meaning that you can obviously upgrade your armor and your systems to tune your player to play the exact way that you want them to play. But If you want to find out more about that, I suggest coming back to the panel at 3:15 on Saturday, where we'll have the Halo team to talk about a lot of that stuff and answer more in-depth questions on those things on Saturday.
Thank you.
Next question.
My question is, can you guys provide maybe more backstory on the flood? As far as I understand from Greg Spare's books, they actually came from white powder that was somehow mysteriously in a ship somehow.
A lot of things near Hollywood come from white powder. However, so it is actually interesting, and that story's not done. One of the reasons that Silantium, which is the third book in the Greg Bear trilogy, comes out in January, and this sounds crazy, but it's literally true, is when 3.5 years ago when we started working on it, like, we sort of started to realize that Silantium over the months and years was going to be full of spoilers for Halo 4. So that's why it comes out in January, so it doesn't ruin certain aspects of the game for you. But the Flood is interesting in Halo 4, not because they're in it, and they aren't. You're not going to fight the Flood, I'll say that now. But all of the... Some people like the Flood, relax.
I like the Flood, come on.
But one of the aspects of the Forerunner weaponry that you've seen is it was all designed 100,000 years ago to combat the Flood, which is why you see it incinerating people and Prometheans. It was because it was designed to completely remove any kind of organic residue and save the galaxy from the Flood. Now, obviously, that didn't work with rifles, but it did work with the Halo array.
Not really.
Well, it didn't work. It didn't work as well as we thought. Some elites started tinkering with stuff they found in jars. Don't do that, kids.
Hello. As we saw from the first example video, Cortana is obviously rampant at this point. And I was
Obviously, or
well,
maybe?
Okay,
maybe she was just pissed. It's long day, you're in space, you don't know.
Okay, on the assumption that she
Yeah.
is going rampant, I was wondering if you were going to bring back previous mechanics from a book, I believe it's Contact Harvest, where AIs were able to separate themselves into multiple different compartments in order to stave off rampancy. Are there any plans of that for Halo 4?
The Cortana's rampancy, I'll say this, is going to be a huge part of the story, or you know, she's literally past her due date for rampancy. She's an incredibly unique AI. Obviously, her origin is different than most AIs. And she's bluntly more knowledgeable and stronger than most AIs. So how she deals with that impending problem and how that affects her relationship with the chief and the rest of the unit SC, as you did get a glimpse of there in that cinematic, that's hardly a spoiler, is going to be a hugely important part of the story and the universe from now on.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any plans to have something similar to the terminals that were in Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary and Halo 4?
Hey, Armando, do you want to have a world exclusive reveal and get a small round of applause?
Oh, yeah. It's funny you should ask, actually. So I guess it's okay for me to
Yep.
say, right?
No,
so
don't
in the
spoil
Halo 4 campaign, we're actually going to include cinematic terminals as part of the offering for our campaign. So that'll be a lot like what we did with the Anniversary Edition. And once again, it's you know, you don't need to watch them, but if you do, your experience in the campaign is going to be deepened, and your understanding of some of the subtlety we're putting into the campaign will become apparent. So, yep, we're going to have cinematic terminals in the campaign for Halo 4.
Thank you.
Sorry, what was your name?
I'm WW Monkey from NeoGaf.
Well, that was your scoop. Next question.
Hey, how's it going? It's exciting for me because I worked on Halo 3 for 9 months out in Kirkland. One thing that I really liked watching was the progression of the relationship between Master Chief and Cortana. Are we going to see any progression of that within like romantic or mother-son deal or something like that?
I mean, I've said this for years. People use Cortana and the Chief's relationship as a cipher for the way they view the universe and the way they view the game, and people definitely take different things from it. There's already people who think it's a romantic relationship. People think it's a platonic relationship. People even think of it as a parental relationship. I will say it's going to be nuanced and it's going to be important and resonant, but I think we still want to leave people with the ability to parse from that relationship what it is that they want to parse.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. First, I want to say thanks for releasing Forward Unto Dawn on my birthday. For the Halo universe in general, with the books, the games, and the movies that you guys, TV series that you guys are making, what do you guys think about when you're trying to focus on how you want to move the universe forward and what stories you want to tell in which order and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is that Forward Unto Dawn is actually a really good example of that kind of storytelling. One of the things we haven't been able to do with video games in particular, and this is true of video games universally, is tell really good human stories. You can tell cool human stories, but you always feel a little bit disconnected because you're not looking at real people. And Stuart and his crew were the first people to really do that. We've done all this live action stuff in the past, and it's been really compelling to see the stuff from the Halo universe, but you never got to see the people from the Halo universe. And so they've kind of blazed their trail with that in Forward Unto Dawn. And you're meeting, obviously you see the Chief, but there's at least one other character in there that's going to be fairly important to the Halo universe going forward. And I just actually really quickly, Stuart, what was the hardest part about making these really young, innocent characters exposed to that kind of sort of horror and scale of conflict?
What was the hardest part about that? I think just being authentic to what it would feel like to be thrown into a situation like that. That's one of the things that I've always loved about the Halo universe is it's got shades of gray, it's bittersweet, there are tough choices, there's loss and tragedy, and it makes the action feel that much more interesting and real. And so our goal was to do that, to be
yeah, and
real with it.
I think the cast, there's going to be some emerging stars from that. There's obviously some stars in it already, but there's going to be some people I think are going to be fairly famous.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Hey,
Next question?
Thank you.
This is the second to last question.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, what is the thinking behind the UNSC restarting the kind of Hitler Youth Program and like taking these kids? Just saying.
It's the
They take
Churchill
these kids-
Youth.
They take these kids and just turn them into soldiers.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, it's practicality, right? You have the problems that they're facing, and obviously in Forward Unto Dawn, it at least starts with the insurrectionists being the problem. It's a matter of practicalities. How do we make our soldiers the best, fastest, strongest, most willful soldiers that we can make as quickly and as numerously as possible? Pure practicality and discipline and organization are the ways to do that. That's how the military works. And it's definitely unpleasant, but it's absolutely necessary to a democracy, and that's an extension of that.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. And the very last question from this gentleman.
Are you going to reveal what the Forerunners really are?
In Halo 4,
Or the cinematic series?
you're definitely going to have significant encounters with, interaction with, and information about the Forerunners in this game, for sure. Very, very central to it. Thank you. So that was the last question. I would just like to firstly thank our panel, who were awesome, and I love them all. I'm going to marry them all. And I'd also like to thank the audience for just being a great audience. Those were actually really good questions, and you guys rock. And remember, you're going to be able to meet some of the cast this evening at 6 o'clock over at the Xbox booth and get some of your stuff signed. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of Comic-Con, and watch out for
Frank.
R2-D2.